What's up, guys? Ivan here with getivan.com, and today we're going to be comparing two email verification services. The first one is Leopathu.com. This is a free service that someone contacted me about and asked me to do a comparison between this service and Atomic Web, Atomic Mail Verifier. And of course, the second one is Atomic Mail Verifier, which is the one that at this moment I still use. So most email verification services work similarly. They do DNS check, SMTP ping, and stuff like that. And someone was wondering whether or not this one compared to a paid solution, since this one is apparently free. There's some other free services out there. You can see this site has a lot of ads, and I guess that this guy is making a little bit of money from ads, offering a free verification capability. My initial impression is that it doesn't go through as many checks, and I'll explain why in a moment. But I also want you guys to keep in mind what is the purpose of email verification, because you're going to see that the results between these two utilities are quite different, and that's it's less common than my experience has proven to date, but this is a pretty big difference between the services. So here we have almost 7,000 valid mails, roughly 1,400 they call these roll filters, but these I would sort of label these as risky mails, and then a bunch of looks like about 500 totally invalid mails. Pardon me. And so most of them here are marked as valid. And let's go over to my verification server and look at the ratios here for Atomic Mail Verifier. So you can see, whereas the other tool had 70% success rate or so, this tool has 30%, not success, but 30% validity. So 7,000 to 2,700, pretty huge difference. And then most of them they're saying they tag it as uncertain, but it's basically just risky. And most of the time, that's because of catch-all mails, IP bans, or IP blacklists. Those would be the three main criteria, or connection errors also, for riskier mails. And then under the invalid, the totally bogus mails, we've got a 7% quantity of the total sample. And the sample, by the way, was just it was like a selection of a larger sample that a customer gave me not too long ago, and I just kind of cut a chunk of it out since it was on my desktop and just decided to use that. But even on the invalids, we have 1% more marked that way, and those are typically pretty reliable. You can see 550 email you tried to reach does not exist, or unknown recipient 554. And you can see they'll have like 550 no such user. They have different returns because that's what the server on the other side is saying. So something to keep in mind. Atomic Web in this instance, or Atomic Mail Verifier, gave us a little bit more indication of what's not valid, and then a whole lot more that are risky. So what's interesting in my experience with providing services is that I'll sometimes have guys say, and I'll do an email verification for someone, and then they'll say, that it was a great deliverable, right? That they gave me a good result. And I never say anything to that, but I'm always kind of like, what a strange thing to say, like, how can you say that I gave you a good result? Like, I didn't engineer the result. That's just what the checks returned. So don't fall into the trap of thinking like this is a skill. It's not a skill. Like, I can't manipulate the result. I can only put it through the program. The program does a syntax check, disposable email check, the DNS level check, and SMTP ping, right? And then I think there might be a couple other things that are included in those criteria. So it does several different things, but it goes through those checks and then it tags them. So if you get a good result, it just happens to be the nature of your list. It doesn't mean that anything special was done. So it's something you have to keep in mind. In the other sample, we have a whole lot more that are being marked valid than on this sample. So what's going on? Well, we can assume, since the invalid ratios are close together, that atomic mail verifier is tagging these values a little differently than the other free utility. So, pardon me, when we scroll up and we actually look at the log, we can get an idea. Okay, some of these were marked as risky or uncertain or whatever on the onus of a connection error. And when we look at the log, we can see 554, and that is the IP has been blocked. And this is interesting because just yesterday I had to call my ISP out because I had connection error issues, and they reinstalled my line from the telephone pole to the house, and also changed out the coaxial, and I got a new modem and a new router. So this is a fresh IP, and they're saying it's already blocked. The only way it could have been blocked already, because this is the first thing that I've done so far, is if through the verification process, just this 8K sample, it was already tagged that way, which indicates that proxies are probably being used in some form or another on the other service. And so there's two ways to look at that. One, you could say, okay, well, I'm finding out at the other service that we're hitting a legitimate mail. So that's good. That's what I want. But you don't forget the purpose of email verification. It's not to find exclusively just an email that is an email. The purpose is to figure out which of those mails have protections, which of those mails are going to be easier to actually access and reach. And so that's one of the reasons that I choose to use a direct connection from one IP, is because I do want to find those that have the likelihood of blocking the IP, banning the IP, giving my mail server IPs a hard time, bouncing deliverability and so on and so forth. They're not giving an appropriate response, because any SMTP, if you're using a service that's obviously those logs, those numbers are given to whatever your SMTP is also. And as you can see, the message along with the number can vary. So look at this: 554 blocked, 554 blocked, 554 ESMTP service not available. And they're going to vary, but every time that your SMTP service receives 554, not really a good sign, right? So which program tells you did a better job? Was it the free program that said, "Hey, we found that these were mails because we detected that a server on the other side acknowledged that there was a mail, but do you know whether or not they actually gave you a log?" I didn't see one on that sales page. I didn't download the file, but I doubt it. Let's go ahead and download the file really quickly. Let's download this here, and let's open this up. No, no logs, just a list of mails. So let's try roll filter. Save that. Nope. No server response information. Now with some of those, you could with the server response, you could maybe try to put those into a Facebook custom audience or something like that. I don't know. But do you want to use those for your mail marketing purposes? I would say no, because it's kind of sketchy, right? Atomic Mail Verifier is telling you exactly what's going on in the granular log here. And in the generic result column, they're telling you it's a connection error. The reason it's connection error is because it's something has been rejected for some reason or another. It's not always because of a ban or a block or whatever. Sometimes it's because of misconfiguration with an opposing server, right? A lot of them are catch-alls, so that's email forwarding, which can't be verified with typical means. Here's more 554s. You see those up there were tagged as connection error, but then these over here were tagged because of blocks, and others you'll see because of bans. So that's important information. You can see 559, and this one says try to connect later, banned sending. So this is a fresh residential IP verifying 8K mails. It shouldn't be getting banned that quickly. So that's not an issue with my stuff. That's an issue with, hey, the things you're sending to, like Chick-fil-A or whatever. I saw Chick-fil-A on that list from this customer sending me Chick-fil-A mails. They're pretty harsh. They're pretty brutal. So you want to be using something that is going to give you an understanding about how sensitive things are on the other side, and that means that the ones that are marked valid are going to be a lot more reliable. So that's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in Atomic Mail Verifier, I'm going to put a link below this description of this video. Appreciate if you use that. I think you might get a small discount if you decide to grab it with that link. And just keep in mind that you can get the suite from Atomic Web or whatever, or you can just get the Mail Verifier. It's cheaper to just get the Mail Verifier by itself. And by the way, you can, when you put it on a PC, like, you get updates for a year and then it expires, and so you won't get updates, but it'll stay on the PC. So it's really cool because you can use that version of it for a really long time, and the core, functionality of email verification is good for a long time before you might want to update it for whatever reason. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.